temporary sign review.
Yes, this is, I'm asking you also to set a public hearing to, actually I shouldn't say reduced fee, but I should say to establish a reduced fee compared to the only other fee that we have of $80 for planning to review your sign for temporary signs. Planning Commission, as Mitch outlined, have recommended $10 review fee with no renewals. Staff is recommending $25. Our recommendation of $25 is to cover the cost of staff's review. It's also below any other city and their cost. But Mitch thinks it takes him about a half hour, and his salary with benefits, that's around $25.
He left.
I sent him home.
Dave?
Is the planning commission aware of this change?
They have been given copies of these agenda bills. They've also been added. They actually requested to be added to all agenda packets, so they're getting all the information.
Are they on board with the 25?
No, they want 10. I have to say that there was discussion by several of the members at Planning Commission that we should at least cover our staff cost. And but they recommended 10.
Can I ask a question, Joanne?
Yes.
The fee section of the code is, and fees typically aren't in the purview of a planning
Correct.
Policy advisory group like a planning commission.
Correct.
So I believe that the planning commission's consideration of fees was a cursory or a courtesy review for them. They
Right.
have no they have no role or responsibility with respect to fees. However, staff is interested in what their advice would be. But it's not a formal, they're not making a formal recommendation
Right.
to you. It's a semantic issue, but it's
I
important.
just don't want the volunteers we've got working on things like this departing over $15.
Oh, no.
Oh, I don't think that would happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that would
I
happen.
think everybody's
They-
looking
they
at
clearly-
this issue the right way, so.
Right. They clearly understand that they're advisory. They work very, very hard, very, very hard. But they also, they understand, even though they forwarded this to you, that it's not within their purview to even discuss fees. That's totally council's decision. So I'd like you to set a public hearing, please.
Yeah, I just have one question. On the $25 fee, is that also for the life of the sign?
No.
That's,
It would be, excuse me. I will get an answer for you by public hearing. I don't want to give you the
well,
wrong one.
I think that Mitch was saying that it was, the $10 fee was
The 10
basically for the life of the sign.
That's
so I'm
what-
just trying to figure out if
That's
the
what
25
Planning Commission was hoping to do. You know, I'm going to say yes, because if you pay an $80 fee.
Yes, but that's for a
for-
permanent sign.
Right.
But if
But-
you take down and pull, you put up a sign, you take it back down, and then a year later, you put it up again, does that $25 apply again? Or do you have to, or you just put it up?
Well, let me get you
again?
clarification for that, because it's.
Because it's 90 days a year, right?
Right, and when we talk about temporaries, we're talking about banners. We're not talking about
Oh.
something that would need a building permit, you know, where
Right,
you'd need
sure,
to
totally.
be able for them to come back in. But let me do a little more clarification on that. It's a very good question, very good question.
The real bottom line to this for me is just that we capture our costs.
Of course.
That's my only concern.
Or clearly recognize that we don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Jennifer, resolution on bond reimbursement. Thank you, Joanne.
You're welcome.
See ya.
So on the next council meeting, we're going to have on the consent agenda this reimbursement resolution, and basically it's been recommended by our bond counsel and FCS group that in order to reimburse ourselves for the costs for the projects that were approved through the rate study and through the council's increasing of their utility rates, we have projects starting now that are included with those rate increases. And we have received the recommendation to bundle our bond issuance for about a 3-year period, and this will decrease costs that the city will incur to do those bond issuances. So we're currently incurring costs on East Street, or will shortly, on the water line project. And so all this resolution does is allow the city to reimburse themselves with bond proceeds at a later date for expenses that we've already paid that were originally intended to be part of the bond issuance for East Street. And again, it saves the city that, bond issuance costs, underwriting fees and those sorts of things up front, to do a bundle package approach versus an individual project issuance. So it doesn't cost us, isn't, I guess, approving budget, it's not doing any of those things, it's just setting the stage for bringing the bond package forward at a later date, which will be shortly.
I have a question. I have to admit, I'm getting a little bit lost about which money is going where. And I'm afraid you're going to have to break it down just a little bit different phraseology, perhaps. Okay, so we have projects that are being paid with money from what source and versus what source is going to be reimbursing us.
So currently, or shortly, we are paying bills to the East Street project through our water and utility fund accounts, just excess funds that we have available.
For the water line.
For the water line.
Okay.
We were originally, I believe, going to go out for a USDA loan for that, and it's not panning out very well. So it would have required interim financing anyway to get reimbursed. And so the bond package is our recommendation at this point. And so since that was originally going to be a bond issuance, we would have already issued the bond for that and not had to use water reserve funds. And we would be able to keep those reserve funds for our cash to debt ratio, to have those numbers be what they need to be for the future bond.
So in other words, this would reimburse the cash reserves?
Correct, for
Okay.
future projects, and keep that level approach in the FCS analysis.
Thank you.
That makes sense?
Other questions? And then moving on, district court and correction rates. Yeah.
We just received this information from the court back in, let's see, when the original, September 20th, 2010, you actually approved a different budget for the court. And through conversations between the City of Camas and the City of Washougal Police Departments, they came to a different agreement. And they're basing it, basically the change is the district court is going to be an annual reimbursement. In the prior approval, it was broken out by the type of infraction. For instance, traffic infractions were $23.57 per case, I guess, at the court. Non-traffics were $19.78. And so it fluctuated each quarter on what we were getting charged. Clark County did some analysis and brought forth, I guess, their best estimate of what it would be for the year, and then prorated or made the deciding factors between the number of officers in Camas and the number of officers in Washougal, and then we have our percent-based share. So in this agreement, I believe Camas is about $120,000. Washougal's $67,000 for a total court cost of $187,000 for next year, and that is less than what we had originally budgeted. So
This is good.
it looks to be a positive